Everyone, this is Minnesota Mike back with you for another video, another live stream as I do weekly, normally on Saturdays. Sometimes I switch it up a little bit just to keep you on your toes. But this one is the Hot Minute for a Life of Sorrow live stream. And I'm actually not going to play the song that inspired the title. So I'll just tell you straight up, it came from a Maroon 5 song called Ragdoll that I actually played a couple of weeks ago on part one of the Iowapolis album. And yeah, that being a double album, so that was on the Broken Rendezvous set, but it says a hot minute for a life of sorrow. No, you can't come back tomorrow. Shut your windows, lock your doors, because my heart won't be your rag doll anymore. And that was kind of it. Was just kind of freeing myself from those void fillers, and anybody who wasn't all or most of what I was looking for. And actually, there are some songs about some different people on here, which is a nice little switch. But every single song on this particular album was inspired by a folk song, except for there's one that kind of breaks that rule. But singer-songwriter, folk, kind of in that particular realm. And this first one was inspired by City of New Orleans, which was originally by Steve Goodman. But a lot of people cut it, but I know the Arlo Guthrie version best, probably. And so that's kind of what led me to it, because I love Arlo, and we'll hear from his father in a little bit too. But this is a brand new source of sun and City of New Orleans, and I hope that you enjoy both. Passing through the place we said we'd meet up. You wanted a ghost town, but I can see it still thrives. Yes, Iowapolis was just fine without us, and what we had don't deserve to be revived. Listing off all the ways I hurt you, then saying you still want me nonetheless. The beat goes on, still saying I don't deserve you, but this time it's because you're too much of a mess. You're still holding on long after I told you it was over, but you choose not to understand. I will find a brand new source of sun while you will find someone else to call your man. There's always something you're going to be needing. Say you're not desperate and hold my will and ring. Don't you get that the best way to stop the bleeding is to cut off all communication with me? You're still holding on long after I told you it was over, but you choose not to understand. I will find a brand new source of sun while you will find someone else to call your man. So I'll drive this car west along I-80 and northbound along Highway 61. And I'll think about how you think I let you down greatly as I drive into a brand new source of sun. You're still rolling along after I told you it was over, but you choose not to understand. I will find a brand new source of sun while you will find someone else to call your man. You're still holding on long after I told you it was over, but you choose not to understand. I will find a brand new source of sun while you will find someone else to call your man. Riding on the city of New Orleans, Illinois Central, Monday morning rain. 15 cars and 15 restless riders, 3 conductors, 25 sacks of men. All along the southbound out to sea, the train pulls out of Carnegie and rolls past houses, farms, and fields. Passing trains that have no name and freight yards full of old black men and the graveyards of rusted automobiles. Good morning, America, how are ya? Saying you don't know me, I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Dealing on games with old men in the club car. Penny ain't a more, penny more, it ain't no uneven score. Past the neighbor bank that owns the bottle. Feel the wheels rumbling beneath the floor. And the sons of Pullman porters and the sons of engineers ride their father's magic carpets made of steel. And mothers with their babes asleep are rocking to the gentle beat, and the rhythm of the rails is all they feel. Good morning, America, how are ya? Saying, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Nighttime in the city of New Orleans. Changing cars in Memphis, Tennessee. Halfway home, we'll be there by morning. Through the Mississippi darkness, rolling down to the sea. But the towns and the people seem to fade into a bad dream, and the steel rails still ain't on the news. The conductor sings his songs again, the passengers will please refrain. This train's got the disappearing railroad blues. Good night, America, how are ya? Saying, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train thing on the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. All right, and that was a brand new source of Sun and City of New Orleans. Like I said, the second one by Steve Goodman, but popularized by Arlo Guthrie. So I'm gonna throw in a two for one here because of some weird stuff that I thought of when I was writing this song and working out this arrangement. So this next song is was inspired by "You Don't Mess Around with Jim" by Jim Croce, and it's a song called Taylor Swift. And this song is very near and dear to my heart in terms of self discovery because I kind of came to the realization through bumming around on Tinder and whatnot that it's a little bit dangerous to date a Taylor Swift fan because there are certain things that like I'm all for a lot of the confidence and things that the Taylor Swift helps her fans get. But there's a line between that and hey, let's burn my ex's house down, which is kind of what Taylor Swift does. And so that was kind of the genesis of this song. And the person who it's about also shared a name with my ex, and so I kind of thought, yeah, there were a lot of red flags I didn't see. But anyway, so it was inspired by "You Don't Mess Around with Jim," and as I was going through that, I thought, ooh, "You Don't Mess Around with Jim" kind of has a little bit of a faster vibe, but similar guitar wise to Henrietta, Indiana by Josh Ritter. And so I am going to play that as well. And I hope you enjoy both of them, or all three of them, really. I met a girl on Tinder who shared a name with my ex. She seemed like the perfect one for me. I'll let you surmise what happened next. Sparks flew between us and I never saw anything resembling red. But she told me she had to speak now or her reputation would be dead. You don't follow your ex's name, you don't get blindsided by the mind shift, and you're the only one to blame if you fall for a fan of Taylor Swift. But she overlooks the past white supremacy, cause Swizzle gives her confidence. It's a unique brand of feminism, building yourself at others' expense. Bet she thinks Taylor deserved the copyright for Party Like It's 1989. Just like her fans think Matt Nathanson ripped her off with the 2003 song line. You don't fall for your ex's name, you don't get blindsided by the mind shift, and you're the only one to blame if you fall for a fan of Taylor Swift. This may seem a little bit petty, but we simply cannot forget she wanted out of a bad contract, and her fans sent Scooter Braun death threats. It speaks to a larger issue, a bigger brand of red flags, that if we went into the woods together, I'd probably wind up in a body bag. You don't follow your ex's name, you don't get blindsided by the mind shift, and you're the only one to blame if you fall for a fan of Taylor Swift. You don't fall for your ex's name, you don't get blindsided by the mind shift, and you're the only one to blame if you fall for a fan of Taylor Swift. Uptown's got its hustlers, the Bowery's got its bums, 42nd Street's got Big Jim Walker, he's a pool shooting son of a gun. Yeah, he's big and dumb as a man can come, he's stronger than a country horse, but he's stronger than a country horse. And when the bad folks all get together at night, you know they all call Big Jim boss, and they say you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, no, you don't pull the mask off that old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Well, out of Alabama came a country boy saying, looking for a man named Jim. I'm a pool shooting boy named Willie McCoy, but down home they call me Slim. Yeah, I'm looking for the king of 42nd Street. He driving a dirt top Cadillac. Last week he took my money and it may sound funny, but I come to get my money back. Everybody say, Jack, don't you know? You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind, no. You don't pull the mask on that old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Well, a hush fell over the pool room. Jim came bopping in on the street. And when the cutting was done, the only part that wasn't bloody was the soles of the big man's feet. Oh, he was cut about 100 places, and he was shot about a couple more. And you better believe it's on another kind of story when Big Jim hit the floor. Now they say you don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind, no. You don't pull the mask on that old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Slim. Yeah, Big Jim's got his hat. Find out where it's at. And it's not hustling people strange to you, even if you do got a two-piece custom-made pool cue. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind, no. You don't pull the mask on that old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Slim. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind, no. You don't pull the mask on that old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Slim. Henrietta, Indiana, Milltown, shut the factory down and locked it up tight. My daddy and my brother and 1,500 others lost everything they had that night. My daddy got a taste for the hot stuff. Henrietta, Indiana was dry. We used to drive out to Putney. He'd tell me he loved me. The drive was always so lying, and the devil in his eye. Like a thorn in the paw, disregard for the law, disappointment to the Lord on high. My brother practiced preaching in the basement, perspiration on his face till he knew that something was missing. His spirit wasn't willing, there was something that he couldn't see through. Blessed be the poor, he said, their kingdom is on high. All of Henrietta, Indiana heard me, hallelujah, when I finally found the devil in his eye, found the devil in his eye. Like a thorn in the paw, disregard for the law, disappointment to the Lord on high. I was coming home late from a midnight day. The radio said that ID'd them lanes, left 3 men dead. Made their escape by now, said the sheriff, they'll be in the next day. Where we'd be able to catch them, can they bring the dogs in? Can they call up the bureau, knew they had the next of kin? Cameras came to my door, I opened it wide. They thought I was crying. It was something in my eye. And now I leave a bottle on the table, Bible open to the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the poor of Henrietta, Indiana, but happy are the ones who get out. I think I'll drive over to Putney. The store will be open till 12. The empty parking lot, the lights, the kid, the register, I can see him all clear as a bell. Got the devil in my eye. Like a thorn in the paw, disregard for the law, disappointment to the Lord on high. Like a thorn in the paw, disregard for the law, disappointment to the Lord on high. All right, and that was the song Taylor Swift, along with You Don't Mess Around with Jim and Henrietta, Indiana. Now, I definitely recognized in that third verse that, that song might sound petty, but every single one of those things that I said about Taylor Swift is true. The white supremacy thing came in with she couple of years ago, Nicki Minaj had posted on Twitter, or tweeted, I should say, that, you know, how great it was to see so many black women getting nominated for Grammys. And Taylor Swift responded to the tweet saying, wow, way to leave me out. And so she went for, you know, a really long time after that, without actually speaking out against, you know, how racist the association is, and just, you know, in general, American society. Waited until the midterm elections, after Trump was already elected, to say something. And at that point, it was, you know, safe for celebrities to, you know, come out as liberal. And so when she saw that, you know, people wouldn't hate her for talking politics, then she decided to weigh in. And then she actually did try to copyright the phrase "party like it's 1989." And Prince didn't say anything, which is great. But, you know, it got denied by the, you know, copyright people and all of that. But just the gall there. And then there was a song on her album Red that that was like word for word the same as a Matt Nathanson line. And so all of her fans were like, you know, getting on his case. And he's like, wait a second, I released this song in 2003 when Taylor Swift was like, you know, 13 or 14 years old, before she even, you know, started her singing career. So, you know, do the 12-year-old math, and figure it out. And then the last thing was that when she was trying to get out of her contract with Big Machine Records, which, by the way, her father was a partial owner of, and he shouldn't have been signing that contract. That's a conflict of interest. But anyway, she was trying to get out of this contract and make sure that, you know, they could get the music for this, you know, Artist of the Decade award at one of the very important award shows. And so she, you know, told her fans, please do whatever it takes. And literally her fans started calling in death threats for Scooter Braun and his family. So really just a, you know, model citizen there. And so that's exactly what that song was, that like anybody who looks at her as a role model is not really somebody I want to romantically associate myself with. But we are going to move on to a song. This is the one exception to the folk rock artists, although Jim Messina was in Pogo, so, you know, if you want to count that, that works too. But this is It's All Over Now, and it was inspired by Angry Eyes by Loggins and Messina, and I hope you enjoy it. You called me an asshole, now you're trying to apologize. You're just sorry you don't get to talk to me like you did before that night. You can go back to not needing me like you did before November. You won't give me no oxygen to feed what was our ember. It's all over now. Tried to be diplomatic, but it's all over now. That only had you wanting more, so it's all over now. Trying to tell you many times, so after a pretty little while, I can't reason with somebody who's still in denial. The more you rely on me, the more you like what I left behind. Both myself as that person and the person I've tried to get off my mind. It's all over now. I tried to be diplomatic, but it's all over now. That only ends you wanting more, so it's all over now. Maybe someday down the road we can continue to converse. But you asking when that will be only continues to make it worse. I told you all my reasons, yet you still think it's unresolved. So under further notice, I don't want to get re-involved. It's all over now. Tried to be diplomatic, but it's all over now. That only left you wanting more, so it's all over now. It's all over now. I tried to be diplomatic, but it's all over now. That only left you wanting more, so it's all over now. Time and time again, I've seen you staring out at me. Now and then again, I wonder what it is you see when those angry eyes. Well, I bet you wish you could cut me down with those angry eyes. You want me to believe that I'm not the same as you. I can't conceive, oh no, what it is you're trying to do when those angry eyes. Well, I bet you wish you could cut me now with those angry eyes. What a shot you give me if you could shoot at me with those angry eyes. You try to defend that you are not the one to blame, but I'm finding it out, my friend, when I'm in the deadly game of your angry eyes. Well, I bet you wish you could got me now in those angry eyes. What a shot you give me and you could shoot at me with those angry eyes. You never stop to realize blindness binds us together in the false disguise. Can you see me through those angry eyes? All right, and that was It's All Over Now and Angry Eyes. As opposed to hungry eyes or lion eyes, you know, different types of eyes that we're singing about there. Yeah. So that was that one. And this next one, I was actually at Central Station Hotel, my friend's Blackwater Trio. Except I think it was just the two of them, so it was like Blackwater Duo or something like that. But they were playing a gig at Central Station, and so I went, and they played Father and Son by Cat Stevens, which I had not heard in a while. And so I wrote a song called Poison in the Well, and thought, hey, this works really well for this record. Kind of that folk rock. So yeah, Cat Stevens, he recorded it as Cat Stevens. Now he's known as Yusuf Islam. But recorded it as Cat Stevens on Tea for the Tillerman, which is just, I mean, a phenomenal album, front to back. Just a really, really good set of songs. But and I actually referenced Tea for the Tillerman in my lyrics, as well as something else in the second verse that I'll explain afterwards. So this is Poison in the Well and Father and Son, and I hope you enjoy both of them. There is poison in the well. I wish someone would have told me that I was better off lonely for a time. There is poison in the well. When you're stuck in there, you start drinking, 'cause it's better than the life you have come to find. The tiller man gets his tea, and as I see him drinking, I'm a wreck, as I know what I deserve. I go east, I go west, I dream my ship isn't sinking. Afterlife has thrown me many curves. There is poison in the well. I wish someone would have told me that I was better off lonely for a time. There is poison in the well. When you're stuck in there, you start drinking, 'cause it's better than the life you've come to find. If only I'd have been warned, this is the life I was meant to lead. Maybe I could have prepared and known one day I'd get what I need. But until then, hindsight is my only friend. There is poison in the well. I wish someone would have told me that I was better off lonely for a time. There is poison in the well. When you're stuck in there, you start drinking, 'cause it's better than the life you have come to find. It's not time to make a change. Just relax and take it easy. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to know. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. I was once like you are now, and I know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on. But take your time, think aloud. Why think of everything you got? For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. How can I try to explain? 'Cause when I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I have to go. It's not time to make a change. Just sit down, take it slowly. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to go through. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. All the times that I cried, keeping all the things I knew inside. It's hard, but it's harder to ignore it. If they were right, I'd agree, but it's them, they know, not me. Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I must go. All right, and that was Poison in the Well and Father and Son. Just a great song by Yusef Cat Stevens. Yeah, from the time I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Just such a great line, a very identifiable one. And it's a little bit of a difficult song because it's a conversation, but even he doesn't sing it as a duet. So it's kind of strange. By the way, there was one line in there in my song "Poison in the Well" that said, "I go east, I go west, I pretend my ship's or hang on, I go east, I go west, I dream my ship isn't sinking." The band Go West has a song called "The King of Wishful Thinking," and so I did a little rephrasing there. That's what that's a reference to. But I really enjoyed writing that song. Just kind of the thing that nobody understands really is that like it gets frustrating to go about the process of trying to find the right person, and so there's poison in the well, but you drink it anyway because you don't have anything else to drink, and so that was kind of the idea behind that particular song. But we're gonna do a Woody Guthrie inspired song now. I told you, we had more or less an Arlo Guthrie song, and now we got a Woody Guthrie song. And my song is called Your White Flag. And this was about somebody that I matched with on Tinder, and she just was kind of talking about how, she's really bad about showing up on time for work. And, and then there were like a couple other things. And so I kind of came to realize I'm like, this is not, okay, you can be a little bit self-deprecating about it, but also, that spoke to a larger issue to me that eventually she's going to be late there. And, if we're supposed to hang out and, and so it's one of those things where it's at work and that's how it starts. But then after a while, and she kept on telling me that she has kind of an obsession with plants. And so I was thinking, I'm like, if you're that late for work and XYZ, then, your plants really don't stand a chance. So there's something there. But a lot of assumptions, but also, I'm not obligated to take that chance. So this is Your White Flag, and I ain't got no home in this world anymore. If you show up late for work, you soon do the same boring day. You got folks who care about you, don't deserve to win. your half-ass attempts at life shouldn't be reasons to brag. I see a red one when you wave your white flag. One day I felt badly more, not texting until 3. Then I realized there's a chance one day you'll do the same with me. Soon you're gonna gang him lacing and on my mind may the drag. I see a red one when you wave your white flag. See, your house is a jungle cause you're so obsessed with plants, with the way you go about life. I'm trying thinking even past. One day the only water they'll get will be from a dirty rag. I see a red one when you wave your white flag. Well, you've had good things in your life, but if I had to guess, you gave up on them quickly and they were happy to divest. If you render yourself blameless, you are destined to be stag. I see a red one when you wave your white flag. I see a red one when you wave your white flag. I see a red one when you wave your white flag. I ain't got no home, I'm just a roaming around, just a wandering worker. I go from down to town and the lonely swinging on wherever I may go. And I ain't got no home in this world anymore. My brothers and my sisters are all stranded on this road, a hot and dusty road, and a million men have tried. Richmond to my home and drove me from my door, and I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Was a farming on the shares, and I always was poor. My crops I lay into a banker store. My wife took down and died on the cabin floor, and I ain't got no home in this world anymore. I'm minding your mines and I gathered your corn. I've been working, mister, since the day that I was born. Now I worry all the time like I never did before, 'cause I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Now as I look around, it's somebody plain to see. This world is such a great and funny place to be. Oh, the gambling man is rich and the working man is poor, and I ain't got no home in this world anymore. No, I ain't got no home in this world anymore. No, I ain't got no home in this world anymore. All right, and that was I ain't got a home, no home in this world anymore, or I ain't got no home is actually the title. And Your White Flag before that, my original song. Now that arrangement of the Woody Guthrie song is always a little bit different, but I saw some similarities between that and "Wanderin'" by Justin Townes Earl, and so that's kind of the place where I went with that. But they're, like I said, very very similar. Yeah. So, my friend Win is just hilarious, really nice guy, and really funny. And we were at, I think it was probably South Main Sounds, and somebody brought up, running into their ex and writing a song about it. And so my friend Win said, there's nothing like running into your ex to test your intelligence, and or something along those lines. And I told him, I said, that's going to be a song, and normally I can do it the next day. It took a little bit to figure out how I was going to fit it in, but that's what inspired this next song, called "Nothing Like Your Ex," and it was inspired by "The Gambler" by Kenny Rogers, which was written by Don Schultz, I believe, if I'm reading that correctly, but then caught and obviously made famous by Kenny Rogers. So this is "Nothing Like Your Ex," and I hope you enjoy it. The train headed out from Georgia, finally left the station, coming back at turn now was a moment in vacation, yet I never will be free from having her on my mind. Was it really worth being at happy if it was only for a time. There's nothing like your ex to make you wonder what's wrong with Cupid, make you wonder why you were so stupid, loving them for a spell. You thought she was some kind of heaven. Now you pray that you are living, 'cause there's nothing like your ex to motivate you not to go to hell. Satan would be disappointed. There's nothing that could scare me except for having to spend my eternity with her. Yes, I've made some bad decisions, but going back to that prison is something most your residents don't even deserve. There's nothing like your ex to make wonder what's wrong with Cupid, and wonder why you were so stupid, loving her for a spell. You thought she was some kind of heaven. Now you pray that you are living, 'cause there's nothing like your ex to motivate you not to go to hell. The worst part is she claimed to follow your old father, but Lucifer don't even bother to approach the disconnect. Put up with her for a year and a half like I did, and maybe there will be a place for you in heaven. Yeah, and there's nothing like your ex to make you wonder what's wrong with Cupid, and wonder why you were so stupid, loving them for a spell. You thought she was some kind of heaven. Now you pray that you are living, 'cause there's nothing like your ex to motivate you not to go to hell. There's nothing like your ex to make you wonder what's wrong with Cupid, and wonder why you were so stupid, loving them for a spell. You thought she was some kind of heaven. Now you pray that you are living, 'cause there's nothing like your ex to motivate you not to go to hell. On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, I met him with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness. Then the boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, "Son, I made a life out of reading people's faces and knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind my saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice." So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. And the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. Said, "If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough and counting when the dealing's done." Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. 'Cause every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser, and the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. And when he finished speaking, he turned back toward the window, crushed out his cigarette, and headed off to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness, the gambler, he broke even, and his final words, "I found an ace that I could keep." You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough and counting when the dealing's done. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough and counting when the dealing's done. You got to know when to hold 'em, Know when to fold up, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough out. When the dealing's done, there'll be time enough out. When the dealing's done. All right, and that was Nothing Like Your Ex and The Gambler by the late, great Kenny Rogers. And since, I mean, it was partway through COVID, but, he didn't live through COVID, so I think he really did know when to hold him and know when to fold him. But that was that. So this next song, speaking of artists that we lost in 2020, we go about half and half. There are about 5 artists that are no longer with us, and 5 who are. But within those 5 who are, Joan Baez, who I'll play in a little bit, just retired recently from performing and recording, and so I guess retired. And then Arlo Guthrie did the same, at least from performing. So I got those 2. But Justin Townes Earl, that one really hurt me when he passed. And so this one was kind of interesting because I was writing a waltz, which one of my songwriting teachers said I should, and I said there's no way. And it turns out I can write some pretty good waltzes, but just not on his dime. And that's what counts. So I was working on actually 2 different ones, and one of them was a little bit more positive, and I thought, okay, yeah, that doesn't really fit with this record, so I'll put it on another one. But then I came up with this song called Reputation, and it was inspired by Worried About the Weather by Justin Townes Earl, which was the first track off of his Single Mothers album. And I'll explain some stuff about that album in a little bit. But this is Reputation, and Worried About the Weather, and I hope you enjoy both of them. Scared about your reputation. You insist you're not creepy, but why are you so weepy? Scared about your reputation and alienation, As long I don't try, knew this I was weary. You don't wanna change, you just wanna make me think you're trying. Guess I'm not the only one allegedly lying. Scared about your reputation. You insist you're not creepy, but why are you so weepy? Scared about your reputation and alienation, If you think that I'm that awful, why do you keep calling? Why can't you simply stop your falling? I get it, darling, you know I've been in your souls, but sooner or later holding on is gonna hurt you. So you're gonna have to leave, you're gonna have to get control. Scared about your reputation. You insist you're not creepy, but why are you so weepy? scared about your reputation and alienation, and alienation. If you can move on, why couldn't you change? You tell me that you love me and would even take my name. But when I call it on, you only prove why that boundary had to be moved to you. Scared about your reputation. You insist you're not creepy, but why are you so weepy? Scared about your reputation and alienation, and alienation. Scared about your reputation. You insist you're not creepy. Oh, why are you so weepy now? Scared about your reputation and alienation, and alienation. Worry about the weather, whether you love me, babe, whether you love me. Now the wind is picking up, pressure's coming down now. I seek shelter through a storm. Just two moons out in the rain, just happy to meet together now. Just two strangers at a bus stop, talking about the weather. Worry about the weather, whether you love me, whether you love me, baby. And don't hang a twister to bring her home, no, and don't take a night to feel like you're in the dark and on your own. Now the range is starry, but the river's bound to rise. There you stand on your side, baby, there I stand on mine, baby. More gas ahead, well, it just don't look bright. Scattering thunderstorms, winds from the west, make a day feel like one long night. Now there's no use in waiting for the weather to change. Might change tomorrow, might never be the same. Worry about the weather. You insist whether you love me and whether you love me, baby. Worry about the weather, whether you love me, whether you love me. All right, and that was Reputation and Worry About the Weather, like I said, off of Single Mothers. So after Nothing's Gonna Change the Way You Feel About Me Now, Justin signed to a new record label that was owned by Marcus Mumford, which already, what are you thinking? But they wanted him to release an album, obviously, but in that process, they wanted him to write 90 songs and then whittle it down to the best 10 or 12. And so he publicly, started calling out the label and saying, that's not art, that's garbage. And then he said, I will release an album this year. I just need to find some adults to work with. And a year later, he did, and put that out. And so Single Mothers and Absent Fathers, he released them separately, but recorded them together. And from what I was reading, it didn't get, as warm a reception as he wanted it to. And so that kind of led him into a little bit of a downward spiral, which is very unfortunate, because it is a really, really good record. But we're going to move on to another talented songwriter, and probably one who's probably better known for his songwriting than he is for his singing, but he's still a pretty good singer himself. And that was Kris Kristofferson, of course. And this is a song of mine called Burning Bridges, and it's probably not what you would think, because normally you think of burning bridges as a bad thing, but sometimes it's good that, there are certain things that feel somewhat right, but not all the way there, and you can do better, and so you're like, yeah, no. And so that's kind of the idea behind this song, that you might have to burn a lot of them, but and sometimes they do that for you. But you got to do it until you find the right person. So this is Burning Bridges and Sunday Morning Coming Down, and I hope you enjoy both of them. I went for years attaching to anyone who would give me the time. Cause it had been so damn long since anyone I could call mine. But one day I burned every bridge that didn't wind up at a better me. Manipulators, abusers, and nothing but toxic users didn't like the new fire I could see. So I'll just continue burning until I'm burned for the right one. It's not my problem if you see flames and they seem to leave you stunned. There are things about us that on the surface won't make you sense you're in hell. Oh, but if it makes you feel any better why they hurt you, I can't exactly tell. There's just something about you that isn't right for who I want to be. You won't be the last bridge I burn, but I'm trying to get to a better me. So I'll just continue burning until I'm burned for the right one. It's not my problem if you see flames and they seem to leave you stunned. So I'll just continue burning until I'm burned for the right one. It's not my problem if you see flames and they seem to leave you stunned. Well, I woke up Sunday morning with no way to hold my head that didn't hurt. And the beer I had for breakfast wasn't bad, so I had one more for dessert. Then I fumbled through my closet for my clothes and found my cleanest dirty shirt. And I shaved my face and I combed my hair and I stumbled down the stairs to meet the day. I'd smoked my brain the night before on cigarettes and songs that I'd been picking. But I lit my first and watched a small kid cussing at a can that he was kicking. Then I crossed the empty street and caught the Sunday smell of someone frying chicken. And it took me back to something that I lost somehow, somewhere along the way. On the Sunday morning sidewalks, wishing, Lord, that I was stoned. 'Cause there's something on a Sunday makes somebody feel alone. And there's nothing short of dying half as lonesome as the sound on the sleeping city sidewalks. Sunday morning coming down. In the morning I saw Daddy with a laughing little girl who he was swinging. And I stopped beside a Sunday school and listened to the song that they were singing. Then I headed back for home, and somewhere far away that lonely bell was ringing. And it echoed through the canyons like the day disappearing dreams of yesterday. On the Sunday morning sidewalks, wishing, Lord, that I was stoned. 'Cause there's something in a Sunday that makes my body feel alone. And there's nothing short of dying half as lonesome as the sound on the sleeping city sidewalks. Sunday morning coming down. On the Sunday morning sidewalks, wishing, Lord, that I was stoned. And there's nothing short of dying. Something about a Sunday that makes a body feel all alone. And there's nothing short of dying half as lonesome as the sound on the sleeping city sidewalks of Sunday morning coming down. All right, and that was Burning Bridges and Sunday Morning Coming Down by Chris Christopherson. First one was by yours truly. Got a couple more for you, and this next one is kind of interesting how I came about it. It was a song written by Josh Ritter, but for Joan Baez's last album called "Whistle Down the Wind," and he released his own version of it on his EP that he released last year called "See Here, I Have Built You a Mansion," and so this is a song inspired by Be of Good Heart, and this is My Love Was Not in Vain. I see it written in your eyes. You don't want to make it last. But no matter how I try, nothing's more addictive than the mask. For a while we had it on, then suddenly something changed. But even though we had to fight, no, my love was not in vain. I see that not so very clear. I still remember all you said. We removed so many years, have not regained all I once bled. For a while we had it all, then you threw everything away. But even though we had to fall, no, my love was not in vain. In the numerous years to move on, I don't know where you wanna be. The things so magic now are gone. Guess that's the price of running free. I hope you're not out on the street. I hope you haven't changed your name. Though now I can feel defeat. No, my love was not in vain. Can't promise nothing down the road. If you won't first give me my space. I didn't mean to explode. Now there's a new truth we must face. The task in front of us is tall, and why I left I can't explain. But even though we had to fall, no, my love was not in vain. I never had a crystal ball. I never had a crystal stone. I never claimed to know it all. All I know is what I've known. But I know that what we had, I never ever had before. So if you really have to go, be a good heart evermore. I am the wild dog in the dark. I am the wind out in the pines. But there's no travel near or far without the crossing of my mind. Still the reflection of your eyes shows the road stretched out before. And if you really have to go, be a good heart evermore. I don't know nothing about where you're going. That don't mean a thing to me. You have the secrets I don't know, and I have scars that you can't read. I know your best ain't far behind. I hear it knocking at your door. So if you really have to go, be of good heart evermore. And I know that I just may have been a way to pass your time, just to stop along your way. Yes, you were a stop on mine. But even so, it'd still be worth all the loneliness in store. So if you really gotta go, be of good heart evermore. Be of good heart evermore. All right, and that was My Love Was Not in Vain and Be of Good Heart. So just some little hidden messages in that song. In the third verse, when I say took you 2+ years to move, or took 2+ years to move on, there's a Bob Dylan song called My Love, or Is Your Love in Vain, I should say. And so this is the answer song. No, Bob, I love you, and that it's never going to change. And I hope you reciprocate it, but you tell me, balls in your court. But anyway, basically what that's a reference to, that was on an album of his called Street Legal, which was released 3 years after Blood on the Tracks. And so that was about 3 years that it took for Sarah to finally file for divorce and all of that. And so that's why I say I hope you're not out on the street, because it was on the Street Legal album. And the other reference to that is I Don't Know Where You Want to Be. So when Street Legal was being recorded and all of that, or right before it was, Sarah Dillon wanted to move to Hawaii, and the court later denied it. But it was kind of, Bob's life was kind of falling apart, so he kind of poured it all into this music, which is a good thing. And the sessions for Street Legal were very strange. They were in a warehouse, so sonically it's definitely a little bit different. But anyway, that was Josh Ritter or Joan Baez by way of Josh Ritter, however you want to put that. And when I repost the set list, I will make sure that both versions are on there, because they're both very, very good. So this last song that I'm going to play is a song called Leave You Like You Left Me. And speaking of Bob Dylan, one of the genius moves on Blood on the Tracks is to not have the closure. So, normally I would end with My Love Was Not in Vain. But I've always wanted to kind of do this where it turned out that, like, oh yeah, no, I'm not over it by the end of the album, because that's more realistic to life. So this song is called Leave You Like You Left Me. And it was inspired by Sam Stone by John Prine. And I hope you enjoy both of them. Until I'm born, it had only been 8 years. You had a chance to relieve me of all my coming tears, but you told me you weren't feeling good about where we were bound. It'd probably be better if you didn't stick around. You had your chances and you blew them to smithereens, but I'd give you another if you thought the grass would be green. Yeah, when there never could be more traces of love to detect. So I'll just leave you like you left me without any respect. I'll tell the whole world of the things that you've done. The God you say you serve will be every kind of stunt. But I think this is something you would always see. I'm just not exactly sure why you didn't find the time to warn me. You had your chances and you blew them to smithereens. But I'd give you another if you thought the grass would be green. Yeah, and there never could be more traces of love to detect. So I'll just leave you like you left me, without any respect. I've invoked sins like you treat me like they should. But you destroyed my ability to see the common good. I thought by now I'd have it in me to heal. But I guess I'm still hurt for you never changing the way you've chosen to feel. You had your chances and you blew them to smithereens. But I'd give you another chance if you thought the grass would be more green. Yeah, and there would never be more traces of love to protect. So I'll just leave you like you left me, without any respect. Sam Stone came home to his wife and family after serving in the conflict overseas. In the time that he served, had shattered all his nerves and left a little shrapnel in his knee. But the morphine eased the pain, and the grass grew around his brain and gave him all the confidence he lacked. With a purple heart and a monkey on his back, there's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Little pictures have big ears, don't stop to count the years. Sweet songs never last too long on broken radios. Sam Stone's welcome home didn't last too long. He went to work when he'd spend his last dime, when he got that empty feeling, $400 habit without overtime. And the gold rushed through his veins like 1,000 railroad trains, and eased his mind in the hours that he chose. Well, the kids ran around wearing other people's clothes. There's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Little pictures have big ears, don't stop to count the years. Sweet songs never last too long on broken radios. Sam Stone was alone when he popped his last balloon. Climbing walls while sitting in the chair, well, he played his last request, while the room smelled just like death, with an overdose hovering in the air. But life had lost its fun, and there was nothing to be done but trade his house that he bought on the GI Bill for a flag-draped casket on a local hero's hill. There's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Little pictures have big ears, don't stop to count the hits. Sweet songs never last too long on broken radios. All right, and that was Leave You Like You Left Me and Sam Stone, the second of which is by John Prine. So that concludes the Hot Minute for a Life of Sorrow live stream. I am Minnesota Mike. I'm not entirely sure which one I'm doing next week, but be sure to be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for my playlist. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate those of you who tuned in. I'm on Spotify and iTunes and all of that. All those streaming sites, as well as obviously YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram, all as Minnesota Mike. Thank you guys so much.